Well, hi again. Welcome to Chess Base Workshop. My name is Steve Lopez. Thank you for clicking on that link and joining us. Been looking at some functions in Fritz lately, and I need to go back to basics here. We have new users all the time who ask a lot of the same basic questions. So we're going to look at a couple of basic things that you can do with Fritz, but they're also valuable things. They're things that anybody can do. So this might be a refresher course for some people for maybe a feature they haven't used in a long time. Of course, you can do database searches in Fritz, and I'll show you how to do a very simple database search. Hit F12 or click the database button to go to the main Fritz database, which you see here. Click Filter Games, and this allows you to search for different material within the software. We've covered this several times in the past, but what I'm looking at here specifically, something I've specifically been asked lately, is very simply this. How do you search for an opening? And I search for the same opening over and over and over again. Is there a way I can make the search go faster or make it easier? And the answer is there are two ways to look for an opening in Fritz, and the other answer is, yeah, the way you make it go faster is you take your search results and copy them into a separate database, and that way you don't have to go looking every time. You've got them all in one place. So that's what we're going to look at here. A couple different ways to look for an opening. First of all, the opening in question in this video will be the Budapest defense, which I play as black, sometimes successfully, sometimes not, but it's fun to play, so I like to play it. Couple different ways to look for it. One is if you know the ECO code of the opening. You can come here and put it in the blanks. In this case, it's A51 and A52. Click OK, excuse me, and the search progresses. The other way to do it is a little more complicated, and it's good for if, for example, you're looking for a very specific opening variation, where looking for an entire ECO code will get you actually too much information. Or if you're looking for, or if you don't know the ECO code, that's another one. Is if you don't know the ECO code or codes of a particular opening, you can do it by the defining position of that opening. I'll show you how to do that. What you want to do, first of all, is go back to the main chessboard screen. Activate game window will do that, by the way. It kicks you back to the main screen. First thing you do is click New Game to reset the board. Then you go to Engine and turn the engine off. Otherwise, if you make a move, Fritz will respond, and you don't want that. So make sure you click Switch Off Engine. Now you can make moves from both sides, and Fritz will not make a move in return. Going to play the Budapest. Normally I play the black side of this, so we'll see if I can do this backwards for me. That's the defining position of the Budapest defense, the Budapest Gambit. So now we have the defining position. What do we do with it? Well, we go back to the Home tab and click Database to go back to the main screen of Fritz's database. We click Filter Games. Click Reset. That's just a habit I get into. If you have any previous search you've done, that just clears the deck for a new search. Go to Position, select Copy Board, and there's the opening position, the defining position for the Budapest defense. Notice that your first and last are already filled in for you. You don't need to put any numbers in there. It's already done. It is 2 moves, however, 2 moves for each side, but it does say 4. They give you a little cushion. They give you a couple extra moves there, which is not a bad thing. And then you click OK, and the software begins to search. It says 3 minutes, but it generally is a little bit quicker than that. You'll see here in a moment. Flies across, and we wind up with a whole bunch of games here. Now, what do we do as far as copying them into another database? Well, first of all, I just wanted to show you the search. So we're actually going to go back and start over again, essentially, is what we're going to do. But this is, all these games, if you click on any of them, notice they all say A51 to A52, except for transpositions. We have a transposition here, which I'm going to bet, since it's CO1, I'm going to bet that it started out as something totally different. Yeah, thought so. D4, C4, E5, and it transposes later into a double E pawn opening of some kind. So that's one of the things you will find, is you will find transpositions, which is a very interesting and valuable tool. You'll find ones that get classified into different openings as they turn into something else later. I just flashed past another CO1 here. So we actually caught a few extra games doing it by position rather than doing it by simply an ECO code search. It's up to you, 6 1/2 dozen of the other, but you do get additional information if you do it, generally if you do it by board position rather than an ECO code. What we're going to do though is, if you're going to create another database, what I recommend you do is create the other database first. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come up here to the application menu. Notice we're in the game list. We're going to go to the application menu. We're going to select new, and that allows us to create a new database. Now, I've already created one called Budapest Defense, and that's for the next video that we're going to do. Okay? It's like when you watch a cooking show on TV, and they pop the cake in the oven, and then you go to 3 or 4 commercials, they come back and they're pulling out the completely finished cake. That's what I've done here. I've already baked the cake for the next video. But all you do to create a new database is go here to application menu in the game list, click new, pick the folder you want to go to. Again, the exact sequence is going to depend on what flavor of Windows you're running. This is a Vista computer, so this looks a little bit different than Windows 7, not much. And you come down here and you can type in, I would type in Budapest Defense, and I'm going to make it say 02. Okay, Budapest Defense. Normally I would just use that, but I'll make it say Budapest Defense 02, create new, and now we have a new database with no games found, because we have not put anything in it yet. That's exactly why. So we come back up here to the application menu, and we go back to our Fritz database, which is listed here, database.cbh. We come back, we have our complete list of games again, and we're going to repeat the process. Filter games, our previous search is here. That's why I click reset, by the way. If I'd done a search for something entirely different, for example, a particular player up here a moment ago, it would still be there. So you want to reset, blank everything out, copy board. There's our, see, that's the problem, is I messed up. I need to go back. We need to back up to here, which is the defining position of the Budapest Defense, then return to our database screen, then filter games, clear the board, copy board. That's our position. That's where we want to be, right there. And now we're going to click OK to do our search again. Now it's done. So what do we do now? To copy games in Fritz, and I'm not going to lie to you, this is a whole lot faster in ChessBase. ChessBase allows you to have two databases open at one time, whereas Fritz, it kind of has to flip back and forth between a couple different databases. So it takes considerably longer in Fritz, excuse me, to do a copy function than it does in the full ChessBase program. But to do it in Fritz, all you need to do is click on the first game, or any game, it doesn't matter. Just highlight one of them, right click to get this menu, go to edit, and select all. And now they're all highlighted. Keyboard shortcut is Control A, by the way. I do that all the time. Edit and copy. It's going to look like nothing happened, but what you just did was you told Windows and Fritz that you want to copy all these games. You've marked them all to be copied. Then you come here to the application menu, open up your database you just created, Budapest Defense 02.cbh, right click, edit, and paste. Now I can click on that right now, and I can tell you if you want to wait around, it would be several minutes for you to, for these games to copy over. Excuse me, I'm not going to do that though. As I said, I could click on it, and you wait a few minutes, and eventually your games are going to get copied over. But what I've done to make this video a little shorter than Ben-Hur is I'm going to come over here, I'm going to open up Budapest Defense. There's the games. I mean, I did it earlier on another database and copied them over, and these are all Budapest Defense games. So there you go. You've got your database that you've created where you've copied games and moved them over here. Now, anytime you want to play through a Budapest Defense game, you just need to double-click here, and there you go. Alexander Aliekin playing in white pieces. Another thing you can do, by the way, since you've got them all copied, it's very easy to refine a search. Just click reset, go here. We see some famous names here. So we'll do Richard Rady on the black side of a Budapest. We got 3 games in which Rady played the black side and did not do wonderfully well with it. He wins 1 game and loses the other 2. But we can double click on the game. We can play through the game. So we've covered a couple things here. One is how to search for a game by opening. The other is how to copy games from one database to another. But to recap the search function, which was a big deal, there's 2 different ways to do a database search for games by opening. One is, and we'll go back to our main Fritz database, one is we can click Filter Games, click Reset, do it by ECO code if you know the code. In this case, it'd be A51 and A52. The other way to do it is set up the board position on the main chessboard screen. Remember, when you go to set up a board position, it's New Game. Click the Engine tab, select Switch Off Engine, so that the engine will not reply. Fritz or whatever engine you have loaded is not going to reply when you make a move. Go back to the Home tab. Well, first you want to make your moves, so set up your position. Then after going back to the Home tab, select Database, Filter Games, Position, Copy Board. There you go. Click OK, and the search is on. Those are the couple different ways to search for games by opening in Fritz. You either need to know the ECO code, or you need to know the opening sequence of moves. And by the way, the opening sequence can be any sequence. It can be any defining position that you want to look at. For example, we can go back. I could put in additional moves here. If I wanted to have it be, for example, a particular branch of the Budapest, like after this point, instead of occasionally you'll see black play knight d4. I don't want that. I want a different opening entirely. I'd want this to be the starting position. You can go to any position and do a search that way, just by, even an endgame position, just by setting up the pieces or by playing through a game to a particular point, clicking Database, clicking Filter Games, resetting, and then Copy Board, and it'll search for that position. So that's how you do a position search also, and it's a shortcut for position searches. But you can't search for games by name of opening. You got to know the ECO code or the sequence of moves. And realistically, if you don't know the sequence of moves to the opening that you want, what are you searching for anyway? I mean, it kind of stands to reason that you would know, what the defining position is or what the sequence of moves is. So that's how you do it in Fritz. You can do by position, or you can do by ECO code, and then, as I showed you, copy the games into another database. Next time around, we're going to look at something you can do with that database, which is pretty cool, to help you in another way find games to look at and play through, and also to learn more about the opening. So until then, for Chess Base Workshop, I'm Steve Lopez, reminding you to please do have fun.